All right, let's dive right in. The world of AI is moving at lightning speed, right? And the demand for engineers who actually know what they're doing is, frankly, off the charts. So if you're looking for a clear, no fluff plan to land a job in this field, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the roadmap. And yeah, the motivation to get into this space is, well, it's huge. Let's just start with this number, $600,000. For top tier roles, especially in places like Silicon Valley, this is the kind of salary we're talking about. This isn't just a fad, you guys. It's one of the most valuable career paths out there today, period. And the demand? It's just relentless. We are seeing year-over-year job growth as high as 40%. It doesn't matter if it's a huge tech company or a tiny startup. Everybody is scrambling to find people who can harness the power of AI and, actually make it useful for their business. Okay, but let's be real. With new tools, new models, new frameworks dropping what feels like every single week, it is so easy to get lost. What do you actually need to learn? And in what order? That is the big question we are going to answer right now. We're laying out a path that takes you from the absolute fundamentals all the way to being job ready. So where do you even begin? Well, the very first step, and this is super important, is to understand that AI engineer isn't just one thing. There are different flavors, different specializations, and picking your focus early on is going to shape your entire learning journey. And it really breaks down into these three main archetypes. So ask yourself, which one sounds more like you? Are you the integrator? That's a solid software engineer who wants to take these powerful, pre-built AI models and plug them in to solve real business problems. Or maybe you're the builder, the person who loves the deep math and wants to create brand new models from the ground up. Or are you the all-rounder, that versatile jack-of-all-trades problem solver that startups absolutely love? Honestly, right now, the integrator roles are in the highest demand because every company is in a race to just use the AI that's already out there. But all three paths are incredibly valuable. And that leads us to a really critical point. Listen to this quote from a hiring manager in AI. It reveals a huge secret. Companies are not looking for someone who just knows the latest buzzword, like whatever came out last week. They want engineers who have a solid, deep foundation across all the different areas of AI. So, what does that solid foundation actually look like? Before we even think about touching a fancy AI model, we have to build the groundwork. Think of it like this. You can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation. These are the absolute non-negotiables for any serious AI engineer. It all comes down to these three pillars. Number one, you have to master Python. It is the undisputed language of AI, end of story. Number two, you need to get comfortable with the core math that makes these algorithms tick. And number three, you have to learn how to wrangle data, how to clean it, analyze it, and get it ready. And look, you do not need a PhD in math, but you do need an intuitive feel for these core ideas. Linear algebra is just how we turn complex things, like images or words, into lists of numbers that a computer can actually work with. Calculus is the engine that trains the model. There's this process called gradient descent, which is just a fancy way of saying the model makes a guess, sees how wrong it is, and then uses a little bit of calculus to tweak its own settings to be a little less wrong the next time. And statistics, that's how we measure everything and prove that our model is actually working. Now, when you're working in Python, this is going to be your day-to-day toolkit. The dirty secret of AI is that most of your time is actually spent just getting data ready. You'll use NumPy for any heavy-duty math, pandas to clean and structure your data. Think of it like a super-powered Excel spreadsheet. Matplotlib to make charts so you can actually see the patterns in your data, and SQL to pull that data from the company databases where it all lives in the first place. Okay, foundation is secure. Now it's time to build the fun stuff on top of it, the actual AI stack. We're going to start with some classic, reliable models and work our way all the way up to the cutting-edge stuff you're hearing about today. I absolutely love this analogy because it's so true. For a lot of business problems, especially when you have data in nice, neat tables, a simple statistical model is like a bicycle in rush hour traffic. It's fast, it's cheap, and it gets you where you need to go efficiently. Deep learning, on the other hand, is like a giant monster truck. It's incredibly powerful for sure, but you don't take a monster truck to the grocery store. A huge part of being a great AI engineer is knowing when to use the bike and when you really need the truck. But when you do need that heavy-duty truck, the industry has pretty much settled on one main tool, PyTorch. It has become the go-to, the holy Bible, for building and training the powerful neural networks that are behind all the modern AI breakthroughs. But even these incredibly powerful models, these large language models, or LLMs, they have a massive problem. Right out of the box, they know nothing about your company's private internal data. And worse, They have a bad habit of just making stuff up. This is what people call hallucination, and it's where a key modern technique becomes a total game changer. And that solution is retrieval augmented generation, or just RAG. The process is brilliant. First, you ingest all of your private documents. This could be legal contracts, support tickets, internal wikis, whatever. Then you create embeddings for all that text, which are basically numerical fingerprints that capture the meaning. You store those fingerprints in a special vector database. Now, when a user asks a question, the system first retrieves the most relevant chunks of your private information, and then it augments the prompt to the LLM. It basically says, hey, LLM, answer this question, but only using this specific information I'm giving you. The result? Instead of making things up, the LLM gives a factual, reliable answer grounded in your own secure data. This is how you build a chatbot that actually knows what it's talking about. All right, now for the final leap. Knowing all this technical stuff is awesome, but how do you actually turn it into a job offer? It all comes down to one thing: proving you can build and ship real systems that work. Watching a bunch of tutorials is not enough. Your portfolio is your proof. Your goal should be to build at least 3 solid end-to-end projects. Put the code on GitHub with a great explanation for sure, but here's the crucial part: deploy them. Make it so a recruiter can click a single link and actually use your project in their browser. That is so much more powerful than just asking them to read your code. It's immediate, tangible proof that you can deliver. And please do not forget this. This quote tells a critical truth. Your technical skill is only half the battle. Your ability to communicate complex ideas to people who aren't technical, to explain why a model worked, or more importantly, why it failed, that is just as important as your Python skills. It's a non-negotiable for pretty much every top job out there. So let's wrap this up with a core philosophy, the big picture mindset that separates the good AI engineers from the truly great ones. It's the one idea that ties this entire roadmap together. The secret is to think of yourself as an AI handyman. You have a whole toolbox full of tools. Sometimes the job just needs a simple hammer, maybe a basic if-then rule. Other times you need a power drill, like a classic statistical model. And yeah, sometimes you need the industrial-grade buzzsaw, a powerful LLM. A great handyman never ever uses a buzzsaw when a simple hammer will do the trick. It's all about having the judgment to pick the right tool for the job, not just the fanciest one. So there you have it. This is the map. It takes you all the way from the foundational skills to cutting-edge AI systems. You have the tools, you have the direction, and the demand for these skills has literally never been higher. The only question left is, what are you going to build first?